I think by now most of us have seen the very, very positive feedback all over the world to Mark Carney's speech the other day at Davos at the World Economic Forum. It has had international praise, huge praise out of the United States and, of course, in Canada. And I've even seen many conservatives praising the speech. And I've actually started, just for my own kind of self, keeping a list of conservatives that I followed for years who never, ever, ever have a positive thing to say about the Liberal government. They never did about Justin Trudeau or about Mark Carney, and they are now saying, how important this speech was and how beneficial it is for Canada and for democracies in the world, given what's going on in the United States. And some of them have also said that they acknowledge that they're conservative. They support Pierre Poilievre. They want him to be the Prime Minister. Not quite sure why, but they do, and they have that right. But that doesn't stop them from supporting what our Prime Minister said the other day. So that's really good news. And I'm going to be on Maple Mind's podcast tomorrow at 5:00 to talk about this further, talk about the speech and the reaction. What I wanted to just briefly mention today is, where's Pierre Poilievre been? Pierre Poilievre tweets at one of the most massive levels of any politician in Canada. I follow him closely. Once he says something on social media, all of his minions and his MPs and his shadow cabinet start to repeat. And he has been completely silent since Mark Carney made his speech, which is very unusual for him. His poll numbers are abysmal, while Carney's numbers keep climbing, and there are many different polls that are showing this. And I'm wondering, with the exceptional praise that's being heaped on Carney by all different types of people, including conservatives, if they've actually decided to take a step back, and especially in light of his upcoming leadership review, and actually develop some sort of a more crafted response. One of his backbenchers, Michelle Rempel, who apparently lives in Oklahoma with her husband, she did post a response yesterday, I believe, and it was muted. It was kind of the usual, Carney's not doing enough rhetoric, and there hasn't been a lot of publicity about that. Today I saw on CBC that Poilievre had actually issued a statement about Carney's speech, and so I immediately went to his Twitter feed, to the Conservative Party of Canada news bulletins, and there's nothing from him, and there's nothing on the Conservative Party site. So what I do see here is that he has, it's now confirmed by Harrison Faulkner that he obviously hasn't made an appearance. He hasn't read this statement. He hasn't posted it on social media, but he has his surrogates. There's two of them that I've seen, Dimitris Soudas and a guy called Cole Hogan, who have tweeted out his response, and it's very disjointed. It's really interesting, and I'm not sure if he actually wrote it, but according to CBC, they did get the statement from him, so I'm going to assume that what people like Dimitris are saying is correct. And basically what Poilievre says in a nutshell is that he supports what the Prime Minister said, that he thought it was a really good speech, and then he goes into all of the negative about what Carney hasn't actually done, and that next week, when Parliament reopens, he's going to reintroduce his Canadian Sovereignty Act. And I did a video on that when he first proposed that in the fall, when Parliament first sat again for its new session, and it's basically filled with recommendations that are based on totally incorrect, erroneous assumptions about Canada and the laws that we have around resource development, et cetera, et cetera. And he's just basically going to reiterate that nonsense. I don't see anything in all of these tweets that he has been able to form coherent policy proposals for Canada or coherent opposition. So anyhow, interesting to see, and I'd like, perhaps by tomorrow night when I'm on Maple Mind's podcast, that we can talk about his response should he actually formally put something out. Somebody I saw today who's quite prolific in politics had said that they actually wondered if he was going to resign today. No, I don't believe that he would do that. The ego prevents him from doing that, and he's padding his leadership review numbers, and he's going to win that, and then he'll have to go from there. But this has been a very, very unusual response from him, and I just wanted to end this with someone that I follow on social media who has talked today about the leadership review and has offered what I think is a brilliant piece of political strategic advice for Pierre Poilievre. Take a moment to read that. Great. It would be fantastic if this happened. Absolutely fantastic. Anyhow, I had a good laugh over that. Enjoy.